Welcome to Surfside Stories. It's been a great day here in the 843 studio. I got a good friend of mine walked in, came in, sat down, said, "Yeah, I'm ready to do my podcast." And I've been trying to get him in here for a couple months, and today is my day. I'm lucky and I feel honored. Mr. Al, I love having you here, brother. I tell you, it's been like another brother to me. He really is.
Yeah.
In case you don't know the main event band, Al is the lead singer. He's also the man that's got the hottest thing out right now, a little song called I Shiver. And you're going to tell us all about that. But, I know who you are now. I've known you like 6, 7, 8 years. I didn't know how you got in music. And, you were telling me some stories earlier about some of the places you've been along the road, some of the bands you've been with or may have been with. Or
Right.
Yeah. Let's go back to the first time you ever sang a song, first time you ever played an instrument. And tell us a story. I want to hear your life story. No time I'm gonna bother you if I need more information. Okay.
Well, Wayne, let me say thank you. The honor is mine for finally making it here in North Myrtle Beach and having the opportunity to talk with so many people that follow your podcast and all of that.
Thank you.
It's an honor because you're known by everyone in the business. So
Thank you.
But for me to start back with where it all began, I'm gonna sound like my wife for just a moment. in that my granddad, her dad was a pastor. Well, my grandfather was a pastor, so at age 7, he would let me play guitar, an acoustic guitar, a little triple alt Martin that was probably out of tune, but he let me get on the platform with one piano player, and bang that thing and play guitar in church while he was a preacher there. And one thing led to another.
This was your grandfather, right?
That's my grandfather.
Okay.
His name was Waverly Pierce Woodruff.
Okay.
And he was from Newport News, Virginia. He grew up as a welder and all of that. I was probably closer to him than even my dad, who was also a musician as well. My dad in high school, at age 17 or 18, performed on the Old Dominion Barn Dance. Now, you'd have to be pretty old to remember that radio show. It was in Richmond, Virginia, but it was only second behind WSM in Nashville, which still exists today, and as well as the Old Dominion Barn Dance still exists today. But my dad opened for guys like Hank Snow and went to school with Billy Crash Craddock. If you remember that guy, rub it in.
Big names.
Yeah, and all of that. So he was convinced that maybe he might make something of his life in music. And between women, wine, and song, all of that didn't work out for him. And he got married, and I was born in Fayetteville, North Carolina, at Womack Army Hospital because he was in the Army in 1960. So I don't mind saying that I'm 65 years old and have been making music in different bands at different times since dating back to 1976, which was in my dad's band.
Yeah.
Back in those days, we used to have what were called house gigs, meaning that you played the same venue every week. And you didn't move any gear and all of that. And I was just 16, 17 years old at that time.
Now, how were you getting into these places? House gigs.
Well, I was in my dad's band. And if you were in the band, no one asked any questions, even though the drinking law and age limit to get into those clubs was 18 at that time.
Okay. I thought so.
I think about 2 or 3 years later, it changed to 21.
Yep.
And in North Carolina, that is. And anyway, I just sort of got the bug and began thinking that I could do more with this than what my dad was doing. So I left his band probably in 81 or 82.
Okay.
And one thing led to another.
What did you do in 1982? I know you didn't stop music.
No. That was just the beginning. I started a band at that point. When I left my dad's band, it was a band called Street Side. And
you started it yourself?
I did.
Okay.
Me and two other twin brothers named Donald and Ronald Norwood, which I hope they get to see this podcast. We and one other guy started the band, and I'll never forget the first song I ever learned in the beach music world was a Band of Oz song called Shaggin'.
Okay.
And that's one of the first songs that we learned back in 81 or 82. And
what type of music would you call the genre of this band that you started?
Well, it was a variety band at that time, because, you know, at that point we weren't making a lot of money having just started.
Yeah.
And we were playing Moose Clubs, Moose Lodge, Elks Lodge, a few weddings here and there, a few festivals.
Wherever you get a gig.
Wherever you could get a gig, you got in the car and you went. And we did that. And that went pretty well. And then we had the notion that we'd become full-time. And so we painted the school bus with spray paint black, loaded up the bus with all of our
traveling
equipment.
in a school bus.
We had our alt light spotlight and all the speaker. We tore out about 6 rows of the seats in the back of the bus so that we could all ride on the bus to gigs together.
Okay.
And I'll never forget our second gig was booked by an agency called CMC, which was in Zebulon, North Carolina at the time, and a guy named Buddy Black. And he booked us in Bluefield, West Virginia. So if you can imagine 4 white guys in a school bus that was probably 15, 20 years old, going up the mountain through North Carolina to West Virginia in a school bus, not thinking about the ride back and what the brakes may do, coming back, going to Bluefield, West Virginia. And we played at a Sheraton hotel. And back in those days, and I think I've seen some of your other podcasts where other musicians talk about floor shows.
Yes.
And in addition to that, you playing 6 nights a week, Sunday through Saturday, Monday through Saturday, and Sunday being the move date, meaning that you were out and the next band was in. Well, the first time that we played in Bluefield, West Virginia, I'm walking down the hallway there in the hotel, and I pass this person that I didn't realize was a female. And this person just sort of looks up at me and says, "Hello, how you doing?" And I later learned that it was Joan Jett.
Oh, wow.
Staying in the same hotel that we were staying in, even though we were playing in the lounge downstairs back in the day, and she was playing it at some club across the street. And that was back during the day of I Love Rock and Roll and her success, or her going up the ladder, as we say, because all bands are either going up the ladder or going down the ladder in their
you said it's hard to stay at the top?
It always is for everyone that's involved. I can't think of any band at any level that's ever just stayed at the top.
Okay.
But we're there. We do those shows, and before we leave that Sunday, they ask us if we want to stay another week. So we went over really well.
Yeah.
And that's when Donald, at the time, who was more the voice guy of the two brothers, said, we got to get our white pants and our matching shirts so we can play this beach music thing and play hotels all and up and down the East Coast. Because at that time, there were lots of hotels that were hiring bands. I mean, you look at any band that was in the business, be it the Embers or Band of Oz or Fabulous K's, all of those bands, and they were down here in Myrtle Beach at the Landmark.
Yep.
And we were watching all of these bands thinking, that's what we want to do. because we were in our early 20s at the time and thinking that we might be able to do that. So that sort of led to everything else that's transpired in the last 40 plus years for me.
So how long did you stay with that band?
That band existed for maybe 3-4 years. I hate to sound like my wife, but I don't remember. Nonetheless,
that was a few weeks ago.
Yeah, it was a few weeks. No, a little longer than that. It was maybe till 88-ish, something like that. Because by that time I had left the twins brothers who were in the band. One was a bass player, one was a drummer, and had decided to start Main Event. And a little side note with that band, Street Side, we actually during actually it was later than that, during the Salute to the Troops in Raleigh, North Carolina, we opened the show with the Embers and Kenny Rogers, and Joe Piscopo was sort of the MC. Patty something, I can't remember her name. She's in gospel music. Sandy Patty.
Yeah.
Freddie Jackson closed the show later that night in front of at Carter Finley Stadium.
Okay.
And Buddy, the guy at CMC, had gotten us that gig. So we were convinced we had arrived.
Yeah.
But we hadn't arrived at all. And it's amazing how you go through different periods of time in the music business in the regional sense, thinking that you finally arrived. Yeah. And you really haven't. You're just creating another calendar to work another date.
Okay. So you're telling from there, that's when you started?
In 91, Main Event became existent. And myself, a guy named Tim Holland, who was with a band called Crackers, and Jody Bundy, ironically, was in the band with Tim, called Crackers back in the day.
I remember the name of the Crackers.
Before Tim actually joined Main Event with me, and we sort of decided to use that band. Jim Studemeyer would attest to this, that the name actually existed before we started down in South Carolina. There was another band called The Main Event right down here in South Carolina. And I didn't know that, and we just ran with the name thanks to Tim. And well, as you can tell, all the things that have transpired since that's 8, 9, 34 years, something like that.
I did not realize Main Event Band had been that long. Now, you told me something a while ago about 1992.
Yeah. And
you looked at another option?
Well, it was at that point, I felt like myself that we were the band was in a little bit of a rut at that point, because that was sort of the transitional period between Street Side and the Main Event, that I remember sending David Hicks a photograph of us wearing white slacks and matching shirts to get a job with Band of Oz, because they were looking for another singer at the time. And he later, 25 years later, sent me back the photo, and we kind of laughed about it and joked about it. But at that time, we were thinking that we'd have success with it, and it just wasn't working out. So I got a call from your friend and a lot of people, Larry Dean, and with North Tower, and they were transitioning from a guy named Chuck. Chuck's last name escapes me, but nonetheless, Chuck was the guitarist in the band, and they were at Woodlawn in Charlotte. You laugh like you know a lot about Woodlawn, Wayne.
Been there a time or two.
Yeah, I'll bet you have.
100.
But Chuck was leaving the band, and I'd sent Larry and Bob Craig an audition tape that I had made, and they said, "Well, come on to Charlotte, and we'll break you in here at Woodlawn." And within 3 or 4 days of being there, things just didn't work out because they were full time at the time, and I didn't realize it. I simply wasn't ready for that, doing it full time at the time. And so I went back to Wilson, North Carolina at the time, which is where I was living, and got into the music store business, selling and renting instruments and things of that nature. And
now this
is
your previous.
No, this is with another company called Sunset Music in Wilson, North Carolina. And I later became an operations manager for the company and went on to McFadden Music as an employee with doing installations of audio, video, lighting, and all of that there for McFadden. But at the same time, still maintaining the main event in a part-time sense, so to speak. And after doing that, things just began to kind of grow as the 2000s evolved and players came and went. I mean, I've been through a lot of different players, as so many other bands have through the years.
Anybody original still with the band besides you?
No, just myself.
Okay.
Just myself.
That's the feeling I was getting.
Yeah, since that would be since 1992 when the main event sort of began.
Yeah.
You know, but
it's a long time.
But man, what a ride it's been. We've worked with everyone you can imagine. We opened for the Temptations, the Four Tops up in Virginia. At one point, General Johnson was, him and Ken Knox were contacting me and having us open a lot of shows for them at different places. And it just sort of, it was a slow movement because inevitably not a lot of people knew in the beach music world about our band, but having performed with anyone and everyone that's in beach music, it slowly grew to what it is today.
Well, I've got to ask a question. Working with General and Ken, did you ever have the pleasure of meeting Michael Branch?
I did not. No, I did not. And it's weird how that never happened. But there have been a lot of people that I have met and worked with. You know, I had one particular song that I still have today that's never been released that Ken absolutely loved. And they were based in Charlotte with General Entertainment. Yeah. And General just shot it down immediately. Yeah. And Ken told me that later. He said, well, you know, Norman didn't particularly care for the song, so we weren't going to release it or use it.
Okay. Now, who owns that track?
That would be me.
I'd love to hear it sometime.
Yeah, well, perhaps that can happen.
Okay, I'd love to hear it.
It's kind of weird that song, which I won't mention, but was also recorded on a 10-song disc that we released years later back in 2005, called Stages was the name of the CD. That's back when we had CDs. Yeah. But it was on the same song or on the same album, if you will. We used to call them albums, as I Shiver, which is sort of the latest song that we've released. Yes. And that song originally was recorded and sang by my bass player. His name was Mark Pascal. And it just sort of stuck with me for more than almost 15 years that I needed to do that song.
But I'm jumping ahead a little bit since you're talking about Shiver. How did you find that song? I think it's interesting how you find particular songs, some that were known, some that were just kind of obscure. That was one of the more obscure ones, I think, that you
It
pulled out.
was. Mark and myself, we both really loved Robert Cray because Robert Cray, during the Persuader album, for people that like Robert Cray, he had a lot of success with that particular album. I mean, he was loved by Eric Clapton, Mark Knopfler,
Yeah.
all of those heavyweights, and he even did the that series that Eric had, Crossroads.
Yeah.
He performed on those, so he was very well known across the world with his music, and that song just sort of appealed to me all along. That's why we put it on that particular album that we did, even though it was a cover song. And Mark did a good job with it, but without sounding like I'm bragging about it, I knew that I could do it better because the song was recorded in his apartment back in the day, back in '04, which is now more than 20 years ago, on his computer. And I knew with recording technologies and the mics and the abilities that I had learned with other people that we could do that a lot better.
A lot cleaner.
And a lot cleaner. And that's when I sort of worked with Barry Duke, who also has been in the beach music world with the Catalinas and other people. And him and I worked on that song at his home. And now you have it. So
that's awesome. Okay, we're back up. While ago, we're back at 2005 when you did the album. Let's tell you. Oh, got to ask this question. I really have been impressed with everybody in your band, but one that really stands out to me is your bass player.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about how you found him, how long he's been with the band. He's a fantastic bass player.
His name is Dr. Willie Lockett because he has a doctoral.
In
Willie, yes, Willie was in the Army back in the late 60s, and he was the music director in the Army. So he directed, wrote horn charts, anything musically. He is just stellar at doing. He can hear things. He has perfect pitch. He's just a fantastic guy, as Sharon had mentioned on her segment with you. And we admire him tremendously. He was with a band called Sleepin' Booty with Barry Herndon. I'm not sure if you've had a podcast with Barry.
I have had with Barry.
Yeah, but Barry would attest that Willie was the guy to drive the boat.
I talk to Barry frequently. I'll have to ask him about that.
Yeah, with Sleepin' Booty back in the day, because we actually, before Willie was in the band, worked with Sleepin' Booty at the Long Branch.
Yeah.
In Raleigh, North Carolina. It was Sleepin' Booty, Main Event, and Band of Oz for a Christmas party for the Garner Beach Music Festival guy.
Okay.
That used to have one of the better beach music festivals there.
How long has he been with you?
Who, Willie?
Yeah.
Willie joined the band back in, my goodness, I should know this.
Approximately.
17 or 16.
Wow. Okay.
So about 9 or 10 years, Willie. But phenomenal guy, great guy. Always shows up prepared. And I'll tell you something interesting about him because I've never seen this with any other musician that I've worked with, and I've worked with a lot. He records every show. And immediately when he gets home, even if it's 2, 3, 4 in the morning, he listens to it and then sends it out to the entire band via text.
Really?
And we are all able to listen. And his theory is that listening allows you to get better at what you do. And it makes perfect sense.
Well, he's one of the best slap bass players I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Yeah. Of course, he does normal picking bass,
Yeah.
but he is a fantastic slap bass.
Yeah,
That is hard to do.
Yeah,
that is hard to do.
It is very hard. I've attempted a few times and made a fool of myself. But
I've played just enough bass to know I don't want to pick one up in front of anybody.
But beach music means a lot to me and to the band. And I've met so many people. I've recently been working with Keith Houston a lot. All of our music is now available on the internet.
Yep.
In addition to I Shiver and Hello Stranger, Love Makes the World Go Around, Keeping It to Myself, Poor Side of Town, all the songs we began releasing when Sharon joined the band back in 2000. We began that in 2019.
Well, y'all have had some great releases with Sharon out there on the lead, and yours, Ewan, is just absolutely fabulous. People are loving it. I mean, I listen to different radio stations all the time, beach music, and people are requesting that song everywhere, all over the beach.
See, I sort of laid low because Sharon was new to the band, and I knew that I needed to saturate, if you will.
How do you lay low?
I'm a pretty big guy.
I'm sorry.
No,
it's your talent, your voice. How did you lay low with your talent on the guitar and your voice?
Well, you just do what you got to do, Wayne. I knew that Sharon, she's a beautiful woman, incredible singer, and with a lot of history in music and enjoying what we do and getting along so well with the band. So I knew that inevitably I needed to saturate her because, let's face it, not a lot of female vocalists. There's a good portion, but there are not a lot of female vocalists in beach music that are capable of pulling off what she does.
Amen.
And she doesn't believe that because she's very modest, but nonetheless, Hello Stranger, Poor Side of Town, Love Makes the World Go Around, and then the song with Dustin, that she did for you, and
did a dynamite job. I was lucky while you were performing a couple weeks ago. She came down. I think she went to see Marlissa, didn't she?
She did.
She did. What to get a wig?
Yeah.
Marlissa did a great job with wigs and her supporting the ladies with cancer.
Yeah.
What she does is just awesome. I've played in her golf tournament several times just to help her raise money. I've been to some other fundraising stuff. But that day while you were singing, I got to take her out.
Yeah, we were at Calabash doing a show, and she was down here seeing Marlissa and being blessed by being given the wig that she got. And let me say this.
It looks so real.
And I know Sherry can relate to this. Until it happens to you or to someone in your family, you don't have a clue the significance and importance of loving other people and the journey that they're going to go through. Amen. Which, as I claim, as I told her, I claim victory for her that she's getting these good results in these treatments currently, and that she is more than halfway home to being done with this. I won't even call it a battle. I'm going to call it conquering this thing called cancer.
Well, Main Event Band has a large following, a lot of fans, a lot of people that love you. A lot of people that have loved sharing her songs, but that family has grown even more now.
Yes, sir.
Because these people are loving her and supporting her and praying for her. And, we all are, and she's so lucky to have you there, buddy. I'm going to tell you, she is. She is.
I'm more lucky than she is.
Well, I have to agree with that to some extent, but but when you go in
you told me that before the podcast began.
Having been through, my wife having been through what she's going through, so to speak, and being in your shoes, I know what it's like.
Right.
And to have somebody like you there that's supportive means a lot.
Yeah.
I got to thank you for doing that for her. I think she's like my sister. Sharon is. You're like my brother, and I appreciate you being there and doing all that you do for her, brother.
Well, thank you, but it's all about the Lord above that's given me the strength and ability to do a lot of things in life, because I've had my ups and downs, and this road in the band business has been crazy and fun and good. And I guess you could say that about life. It's crazy and fun and good. And, you just make the most of it and always remember where every day comes from.
Amen. We're almost out of time here already. I got 2 questions.
Oh, my goodness.
Number 1, what is beach music?
Wayne, when you're behind the microphone, and in my case, playing guitar and singing and thinking about the show and how to make people happy, it's just love and enjoyment for doing something that people allow myself and our entire band to do. A lot of folks think that, you got it made, and they don't know all the other stuff about the travel and moving the gear and all of that. But in all of that, it's just very enjoyable. Mm-hmm. I hate to sound like Bobby Tomlinson with the Embers, but I'll do it till I pretty much can't get in the car, drive to the gig, get up there and pretend like everything is good, everything is normal, and all of that. But it's about making people happy through music and seeing the smiles on their face and them mouthing the words to your song and watching my lovely wife sing.
That's very good. Now, what do you see the Main Event Band doing the next couple of years? Do you have any particular plans, any particular directions, anything new that you want to introduce us to? Anything old that you want to reestablish?
Well, we're as usual. We're everywhere performing. I should be in Ocean Isle right now as I speak, but thanks to the weather outside and this beautiful beach that I'm looking through. By the way, Wayne has a beautiful view, oceanfront view of the beach right here at his podcast.
843 studio. That's what we call it.
Okay, back in the 843. You and Jim Quick have a knack for the 843. But in regards to our future, there are more songs coming and more dates coming. And a good friend of mine named Joe Toronto, and I'll make this story short, from Greenville, North Carolina, which is where I live, with my beautiful wife. He owned a place called The Attic. And back in the day, he'd have the chairman of the board.
The Attic was in
Greenville, North Carolina.
Greenville. Okay.
Yeah, downtown, the college town.
So we had an Attic in Charlotte, too.
Yeah. East Carolina, The Attic, all of that, back in the 70s and the 80s and the early 90s. But he'd have chairman there every 4 weeks, and they would line up down the block, the college students, to get in. And most of them didn't get in because the venue inevitably only held so many people. But Joe and I talked about how a lot of things changed when the general passed, meaning that the music maybe just wasn't appealing to the thousands of folks that it did when General was alive. Because, if anyone knows anything about the history of General Norman Johnson and his days with the Showman, much less the chairman of the board later, then he was an icon.
Absolutely.
In the industry. So when we worked with him and released songs through General Entertainment and worked festivals and different things with him, not to be able to do that again was a big hit. Hence, a lot of bands performing a lot of their music, be be it us or Embers or Band of Oz or any of those bands doing, Everything's Tuesday or Carolina Girls or any of those songs. Anyway, the industry took a little bit of a hit at that time. So Joe, the guy with the attic, Joe, and I talked about the importance of that transition that General maybe should have made, maybe breaking someone in to take his place to make that transition a little bit easier on the musical public, if you will. But that didn't really happen.
Yeah.
And since then, we've enjoyed performing and working as often as we can at a lot of different festivals and weddings and corporate events and stuff like that. Just like any other band that's out there doing this.
Well, you've been very successful at it. I can't tell you how much I appreciate all you do for beach music. You and Sharon and the band and all your band members. It means a lot. And yeah, we may not have the General, but we've got some really good replacements now. And Main Event Band is one of them.
Well, we lost a lot in the last few years. Johnny Barker, Gary.
Yeah.
General Doug just passed away, unfortunately, in his horrible situation. And, but it does keep going and the people keep supporting it. And that's really wonderful to my heart.
It is.
And, we won't stop. It'll keep going. I feel like our band is sort of the next generation, behind some of the icons, be it the Embers, Band of Oz, and things of that nature.
That's a very good point, and I think you're dead on.
Yeah.
I think you're dead on with that idea.
Well, we want to do the best we can.
You're doing it.
To make sure that young and old.
That's a good reason why I'm going to see you at SOS.
Yes, you will. In September.
If I don't see you before then, I'm going to see you at SOS.
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
Thanks so much for being here. I can't tell you how much it's meant. Like I said, you're like another brother to me. But to get to hear your story, stuff that I didn't know about, it just takes.
There's a lot of things I couldn't tell you, by the way.
Okay, well, we'll talk about them after we get off there. How's that?
Absolutely.
Thanks so much again.
Thank you, Wayne.
Folks, you can go to YouTube, go to Surfside Stories, click on our channel, and you can see all the videos. This one will be there along with Sharon, along with a lot more. We got 47 of them out there right now. You can go to the Roku TV, Beach Music TV channel, and you can see it. You can go to explorenmb.com, or you can go to a Facebook page and look at Surfside Stories, and you can see it. So a lot of ways you can get to it. And if you're driving and just want to listen, go to Spotify and you get to hear it. So there's plenty of ways you can hear this. Thanks again, brother. Loved having you here.
Thank you,
Wayne.
Wayne.
A great day.
By the way, this is a great show. Share it with everyone you know.
Folks, thank you. See you next week.